Every secret tear you shed has been collected and turned into currency for your next season. If you believe your struggles were for nothing, you will remain stuck in the why. But today, I will show you how to map your past pain to your future purpose so you can finally move forward. My beloved, do not misunderstand what I mean by currency. Your suffering was never a price I demanded before giving you something good. Your tears did not purchase my love, and pain was never the entrance fee for purpose. I am telling you that nothing honest, surrendered, and survived must remain useless in my hands. The nights nobody witnessed can become wisdom. The disappointment that once silenced you can become compassion. The wound that made you feel small can become the place where another person finally feels understood. Stay with me. Before this message ends, I will give you a testimony mapping system built around 5 movements. Remember: name, receive, release, and serve. It will help you honor what happened without living inside it. You will not be asked to deny the damage. You will learn how to separate the pain from the lie it planted. Recognize the strength it formed, and choose what may now become life for someone else. Do not leave this word yet. There is a difference between being marked by pain and being defined by it, and today I am restoring that difference within you. Right beneath this message, Redamid. Do not write it because every memory feels healed. Write it because you are willing to believe that your history does not have final authority over your identity. You have spent many nights wondering whether your prayers reached me. You spoke softly because everyone else was asleep. You covered your mouth so nobody would hear you crying. You wiped your face before entering another room, then answered, "I am fine," because explaining felt impossible. I saw that. I saw the moment you sat on the edge of the bed after another disappointing call. I saw you stare at the ceiling while the same question moved through your mind. Why did this happen? Why did they leave? Why did the answer arrive too late? Why did I have to become strong this way? You were not asking for a lecture. You were asking to be witnessed. My child, your pain was seen before you found language for it. The tear you quickly erased was not insignificant. The grief you carried into work was not invisible. The moment you drove home slowly because you were not ready to walk inside was known to me. Nothing about that was small. Perhaps your loss involved a person. Perhaps it involved health, trust, money, time, innocence, or the version of life you expected. Some losses have funerals. Others have no ceremony. Those hidden losses can be harder to explain. You may grieve a relationship that still exists, but no longer feels safe. You may grieve years spent surviving. You may grieve a dream that quietly expired while you continued supporting everyone else. Grief does not always announce itself. Sometimes it appears as anger. Sometimes it becomes numbness. Sometimes it makes simple decisions feel heavy. Sometimes it steals your interest in things you once enjoyed. You blamed yourself for changing. But pain changes the nervous system. It changes attention, sleep, memory, and trust. You were not becoming difficult. You were trying to adapt to something your heart had not yet processed. Be gentle here. The first truth I need you to receive is that remembrance is not the same as captivity. You do not heal by pretending nothing happened. You heal by allowing the truth to be held in a safer place. This is the bottle of remembrance. The psalmist spoke of tears being gathered, not because sorrow was celebrated, but because sorrow was noticed. What felt scattered to you was not scattered to me. I remember what you survived. I remember what it cost. I remember the courage nobody praised. You do not need to exaggerate the pain to prove it mattered. You do not need to minimize it to appear spiritual. You can tell the truth. Pause now. Place your hand over your heart and ask, what loss have I never fully named? Do not force an answer. Let one memory, sentence, or feeling rise. Perhaps it is I lost trust in myself. Perhaps it is I lost years to fear. Perhaps it is I lost the future I pictured. Name it without correcting it. What is named can be held. What is held can begin changing. Stay with me because the next part will help you understand why strength sometimes appeared in ways you did not recognize. You have looked in the mirror and seen only the lines of worry. You saw fatigue, caution, and a heart that no longer opened quickly. You wondered whether pain had ruined the best parts of you. But beneath the surface, something was also forming. Again, I am not calling the harm good. Betrayal was still betrayal. Abuse was still wrong. Illness was still painful. Loss was still loss. Redemption does not rename evil as good. Redemption refuses to let evil keep everything it touched. The difficulty revealed places that needed care. It exposed relationships built on your silence. It showed you how often you confused being needed with being loved. It uncovered the fear that made you accept what wounded you. This revelation hurt, but revelation created choice. You learned what your body feels like before overwhelm. You learned which apologies contain responsibility and which only seek access again. You learned that peace is not weakness and boundaries are not cruelty. These lessons became part of your strength. The refiner's fire is not a picture of me delighting in your suffering. It is a picture of what happens when what tried to destroy you does not receive permission to define you. Pressure exposed what was true. It showed you where support was missing. It revealed who remained. It brought hidden grief to the surface. It forced you to notice needs you had ignored for years. You became more honest. That honesty is gold. You became less impressed by appearances. You began listening for consistency. You stopped believing every confident voice. That discernment is gold. You learned to survive one day at a time when the future felt unbearable. You discovered that small routines could carry you when motivation disappeared. That endurance is gold. If you had not survived that trial 3 years ago, would you recognize your strength today? Do not answer quickly. Perhaps you still resent what happened, and you are allowed to feel that. But look carefully at the person who emerged. You know more now. You understand pain without requiring explanation. You notice the person sitting quietly at the edge of the room. You hear the tremble beneath someone's "I am okay." Your awareness deepened. This is not because pain automatically makes everyone wise. Pain can also create bitterness, fear, and isolation when it remains unsupported. Wisdom grew because you kept choosing truth, help, prayer, and reflection. Honor your participation. You reached out when hiding felt easier. You returned to counseling. You opened the statement. You blocked the number. You took the medicine. You prayed even when prayer felt dry. Those choices mattered. You are not only someone to whom something happened. You are someone who kept responding. That identity must be restored. You are not a victim as your permanent name. You may have been victimized. You may have suffered real injustice. Those truths deserve acknowledgement and support. But what happened is not the whole sentence. You are also beloved. You are also discerning. You are also learning. You are also alive. The story continues. Write this inner declaration. What happened to me is not all of me. Let those words create space between your identity and your history. Now we must speak about the lie pain planted. Every wound tries to interpret itself. Betrayal says, nobody is trustworthy. Rejection says, I am difficult to love. Financial collapse says, I will never be safe. Illness says, my body is my enemy. These interpretations can become more damaging than the original event because they continue speaking after the event ends. Pain is real. Its conclusions are not always true. The person who left may have taught you to expect abandonment, but their decision did not measure your worth. The opportunity you lost may have created hardship, but it did not erase your capacity. Separate the event from the lie. This is one of the most important parts of healing. Say, the event was real, but the lie is not my identity. Perhaps the event was, they betrayed me. The lie became, I should never trust anyone. The truth may be, I can learn to trust slowly with boundaries and evidence. Perhaps the event was, I failed publicly. The lie became, I am a failure. The truth may be, I made mistakes, and I can repair, learn, and grow. Truth does not erase consequence. It restores proportion. You can own responsibility without carrying endless condemnation. You can acknowledge what another person did without letting hatred become your permanent home. Healing requires both honesty and release. Do not rush either. Some of you have tried to release before you fully acknowledge the wound. You said, I forgive, because you wanted the pain to disappear. Yet your body continued bracing because the truth had never been spoken. Forgiveness is not pretending. Release begins with reality. You may need to say, "That harmed me." You may need to grieve what will never be repaired. You may need professional support to process trauma safely. Please receive help. If your pain involves abuse, violence, self-harm, severe depression, addiction, or danger, qualified care is not a lack of faith. Counselors, doctors, advocates, emergency services, and trusted community can become part of my provision. You do not have to spiritualize a wound that needs treatment. You deserve support. Now let us speak about resilience. Resilience is not the ability to feel nothing. It is the capacity to bend without permanently losing your shape. You may have confused resilience with constant strength. You believe resilient people never collapse, never ask for help, and never need time. That is not resilience. That is performance. Real resilience can cry. It can rest. It can admit, "I cannot carry this alone." It can change plans when the body reaches capacity. Resilience is honest strength. It knows when to continue and when to pause. It knows that survival is not a competition. It allows support to become part of recovery. You have more resilience than you recognize. You return to life after days you thought would end you. You made breakfast while grieving. You went to work while your heart felt broken. These ordinary acts were not small. They were evidence. But resilience is not only for you. Over time, what you learned can become empathy for someone else. This is the currency of resilience. Again, it is not a transaction. It is the way survived pain can become usable compassion. You may sit beside someone without rushing them. You may recognize financial shame and speak without judgment. You may help a grieving person feel less strange. Your history gives texture to your compassion. It does not make you an expert in everyone's pain. Do not assume another person's story matches yours. Ask questions. Listen. Empathy says, "I may not understand everything, but I will not look away." That can change a life. The enemy of healing wants your history to become an anchor. It says, "Because this happened, you can never move." Redemption turns the same history into a foundation. An anchor keeps you attached to one location. A foundation supports what is built next. The difference is not whether the past existed. The difference is what role it holds now. Your past may explain some reactions. It does not have to command every future decision. You can honor the lesson without repeating the environment. You can remember the warning without expecting danger everywhere. You can serve others without reopening your wound every time. This boundary matters. Purpose from pain does not require public disclosure. You do not owe the world your most vulnerable details. Your testimony belongs first to your healing, not to an audience. Share only what is safe, ready, and useful. Some testimonies are lived quietly. They appear in the way you parent differently. They appear in how you manage money, choose relationships, or respond to conflict. You do not need a platform. You need integration. If this message is helping you see your history with greater truth and compassion, subscribe to stay connected with future words that strengthen healing, purpose, and emotional restoration. Stay because redemption often unfolds in layers, and each layer deserves steady support. Now I will give you the testimony mapping system. It contains 5 movements, remember: name, receive, release, and serve. Begin with remember. Choose one painful season. Do not choose the most overwhelming memory if you are currently unstable or unsupported. Start with something difficult but manageable. Write one factual sentence. 3 years ago, my relationship ended. Last year, I lost my job. My health changed and I became afraid. Do not explain everything. Facts create a stable beginning. The second movement is name. Write 3 things the season cost you. Perhaps it cost trust, time, money, energy, confidence, or connection. Then write the main lie it planted. I am alone. I cannot recover. I should have known. Be honest. This is not a place for spiritual performance. The third movement is receive. Ask, what truth, strength, or support became available during or after this season? Maybe you learned to ask for help. Maybe you became financially honest. Maybe you discovered safe people. Do not force a positive answer. If you cannot identify strength yet, write, I survived, and I am still learning what this means. That is enough. Receiving also means accepting compassion. What would you say to someone else who lived through the same event? Write that sentence to yourself. You did what you could with what you knew. You deserved support. You are not weak for still hurting. Let mercy enter. The fourth movement is release. Draw two columns. In one column, write what you will carry forward. In the other, write what you will not continue carrying. You may carry discernment, patience, boundaries, faith, or practical wisdom. You may release shame, self-blame, resentment, secrecy, or the demand for an apology that may never arrive. Release is rarely one moment. It is a repeated choice. Choose one physical action that represents release. Tear up a false statement. Delete an unsent message. Move an object connected to the season. Do not destroy important evidence or legal records. Let the action be safe and symbolic. Then say, I release the lie, not the lesson. That sentence protects wisdom without preserving bondage. The fifth movement is serve. Ask, how can this healed knowledge become life-giving without harming me? Your answer may be private. You may become more patient with your child. You may volunteer, mentor, donate, listen, or share one careful sentence. Service must not become self-erasure. Do not rescue everyone because nobody rescued you. Do not overgive to prove your pain had purpose. Purpose includes boundaries. Choose one small expression. Send encouragement. Recommend a resource. Sit with someone. Tell the truth when silence would continue harm. Remember, name, receive, release, serve. That is the testimony mapping system. Use one page for one season. Do not map your entire history in one night. Healing is not a race. Give each memory room. Review the page after several days. Notice what feels clear and what still feels activated. Bring the difficult parts to safe support. This is wise restoration. Now let us address regret. Regret often disguises itself as responsibility. It says, if I keep punishing myself, I will prove that I learned. Punishment does not create repair. Honest responsibility does. Ask 3 questions. What was truly mine to own? What was never mine to carry? What can I repair now? Your responsibility may include an apology, repayment, boundary, change behavior, or honest conversation. Do what is possible, but do not claim responsibility for another person's manipulation, violence, addiction, or refusal to change. Their choices belong to them. Your younger self may have stayed too long because fear was strong. Your younger self may have missed warning signs because you had never been taught what safety felt like. Offer compassion. You can learn without humiliating who you were. Say, I forgive myself for surviving with limited tools. This is not avoiding responsibility, it is refusing cruelty. Cruelty cannot become your healer. Regret also keeps asking for an alternate past. It creates scenes where you chose differently, spoke sooner, or left earlier. The imagined past feels powerful because it cannot be tested. Return to the present. You cannot rewrite that day. You can let what you learned influence this day. That is where power lives. What boundary can you set now? What help can you request now? What truth can you speak now? The present is the doorway. Do not spend all your strength trying to rescue a version of yourself who has already survived. Honor them by protecting the life in front of you. This is how the anchor releases, not by forgetting, by choosing where your attention and responsibility belong today. Stay with me, because there is another part of this redemption many people miss. Healing is not complete when you can explain the pain. Healing deepens when your body begins believing that the danger is no longer happening. You may understand everything intellectually and still tense when a voice changes. You may know the relationship ended, yet your body reacts to similar situations. That does not mean you failed. The body remembers through sensation, posture, and reflex. It may need patient experiences of safety. Breathe slowly when activation begins. Name 5 things you can see. Feel your feet against the floor. Say the current date and location. Remind yourself, that was then, this is now. These simple actions help the body return. If trauma symptoms continue, professional trauma-informed support can help. You do not have to force yourself through memories alone. Your healing deserves skill. Over time, safety becomes more familiar. You sleep without rehearsing every threat. You hear a delayed reply without assuming abandonment. These changes may happen quietly. Celebrate them. A regulated breath is progress. A boundary held without explanation is progress. A day without self-punishment is progress. The harvest often begins small. One golden shoot rises through dry soil. It does not deny the drought. It proves life remained possible beneath it. Your tears were not wasted because they became evidence of what mattered. They showed where love existed, where loss entered, and where support was needed. They watered honesty. They softened places pride had hardened. They connected you with the human need for mercy. But hear me clearly, you never needed to suffer to become worthy. You were already worthy of love. The harvest is not a reward for enduring harm. The harvest is my refusal to abandon you inside it. I meet you in the remains. I gather what feels scattered. I breathe hope into what still has life. This is redemption, not replacing what was lost with a cheap substitute. Not telling you that another blessing cancels grief. Redemption means grief and new life can coexist. You can miss someone and still laugh again. You can carry a scar and still feel whole. You can remember the old dream while receiving a different future. Both can be true. You do not betray the past by healing. You do not dishonor the person you lost by enjoying life. You do not minimize what happened by becoming joyful again. Joy is not forgetfulness. It is restored capacity. There may be people who only knew the wounded version of you. Your healing may confuse them. They may expect the same access, silence, or self-doubt. Remain steady. You are not required to stay broken so others remain comfortable. Your restoration will change relationships. Some will deepen. Some will require new boundaries. Some may end. Let truth lead. You are not becoming hard. You are becoming integrated. The child who was afraid, the adult who survived, and the person you are becoming can exist in one story without fighting for control. Bring them all into compassion. One day you may speak about this season without your voice shaking. Another day, emotion may return unexpectedly. Both days are allowed. Healing is not a straight line. A returning feeling does not mean you return to the beginning. It may mean another layer is ready for care. Do not shame the layer. Meet it. Your testimony will gain depth because it tells the truth about process. People do not need another polished story that skips from pain to victory. They need permission to heal honestly. Your life can offer that permission. You may say, I am still healing, but I am no longer hiding. You may say, I have peace, even though some questions remain. That is credible hope. There is also room for anger and redemption. You may feel angry about the years, the betrayal, the missed protection, or the help that never came. Do not confuse honest anger with spiritual failure. Anger can reveal where dignity was violated and where truth was ignored. Bring it to me without letting it become your permanent guide. Ask what the anger is protecting. Perhaps it protects grief. Perhaps it protects the younger self who could not speak. Perhaps it protects a boundary that still needs to be established. Listen, then choose wisely. You do not need to send every message your anger writes. You do not need to confront someone who remains unsafe. Write privately. Speak with trusted support. Let the energy of anger become a boundary, a decision, or a request for help. This is another form of harvest. The feeling that once burned without direction can become courage with purpose. It can help you protect your children, tell the truth, or refuse an old pattern. Anger does not have to destroy the field. Properly held, it can show where repair is needed. And when anger softens, do not judge yourself for the relief. You are not excusing what happened. You are releasing your body from carrying the courtroom every hour. Justice and peace do not need to be enemies inside you. White type, red emet, if you believe I am making all things new. Let the word mean you are willing to release the lie, receive the lesson, and let your future become larger than your wound. The next message will address what to do when an old memory suddenly returns after you thought you had healed. I will show you how to respond without panic, shame, or the belief that all your progress disappeared. Stay near. Before you leave, create your first testimony map. Remember the season. Name the cost and the lie. Receive the truth and strength. Release what no longer belongs. Serve from healing, not from pressure. You are not a monument to what hurt you. You are a living witness that pain did not receive the final word. Every hidden tear was seen. Every honest step mattered. Every return to truth strengthened you. The dry ground is not your permanent identity. Life is rising. Compassion is rising. Wisdom is rising. Wisdom is rising. Your past can become a foundation without remaining an anchor. Let the tear fall. Let the seed open. Let the golden flower grow in its own time. No tear wasted, no wound worshipped, no history allowed to define the whole future. You are held. You are healing. You are being restored.